again. So last week we talked about how to break down bodies, and this week we're going to talk about hands and feet. So this video is for hands, all right? What you're going to want is to practice. And good thing you have your hands or pictures of hands or neighbors' hands to look at to help you practice. Okay. So to break down the hand at first, the easiest thing to do is to form almost like a pill shape or like a long oval. Oops, wrong way. Okay. So first I go in and I do that shape. Hold on. Try and get this a little darker. Okay. And then depending on which way your hand's going, right, if it's your palm or the back, you're going to add in kind of a curved line for the thumb, right? You see how when your hand is out, it curves? You can also even add in a little triangle right down in here for that. But up in here, we're going to split this in half because the length of your fingers is about the same length as your palm. But instead of doing a straight line across, we're going to do a curved line, just a little bit of a curve, about halfway across. Okay, and that's going to give us the starting point for our fingers. And it helps when this is rounded because our fingers on the outsides are shorter and the ones in the middle are longer. Okay, so I'm going to go in, I'm going to do 4 lines for my fingers. So I have 1, and if you want, you can even work from the outside in 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So now we have almost like the skeleton of our hand. So once you have that, I'm going to show you with a marker, but then we can go in and we can outline our hand, right? So down here is our palm with our thumb. So we're going to have that come up and curve in like so. It's going to curve up. I'm going to have my first finger, right? We're going to round it out on the end. It kind of rounds right in there. See how it curves instead of is it like a V? It's more of a little U. And my next finger. And my next one. Oops. Okay. And you can have this come down. All right. Oh, I cut it a little bit in. That's okay. All right, so there is like your basic hand. I did it with marker, so excuse my messy parts, right? Or if you want it to be spread out even more, then what you would do is have like almost like an egg shape where it's much more rounded on one side and comes to more of like a point, right? So it would be like that oval, but kind of fanned out at the top, like that. This one's going to be a bigger hand. Okay, about halfway across I have that curve. Actually, you know what? Let's do that an easier way. I'm going to explain it a better way. Hold the phone, I'm sorry. Okay, so that we don't have like a really big palm, because even when our fingers go out, our palm stays the same. Okay, so what I would do instead is I would start with like that palm shape. And then instead of doing like the rest of the pill shape, up here in this halfway part, we're going to just bring it out a little bit wider. So just in the top will be wider. Okay, almost like mittens. Oops. Okay, and then I have my fingers, my 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'm going to go outline it. We have our thumb. Comes up, and I have this finger that goes out that way. This finger. My pinky. Oops. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at it from like upside down into the side, so it's kind of hard. Okay, so then your fingers would be spread out a little bit further. All right, so now that we have that basic part, you can start to take that and use it towards different gestures with the hand. So I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to show you how. Okay, so here I've drawn a few different pill shapes, right? This one has just a little bit more of like a curve, more like a bean. This one is horizontal instead of vertical. And then this one is also kind of like a bean. It's curved up instead of down, right? So from here, you can decide, okay, well, where's my thumb? Maybe my thumb is going to come down this way. And I'm going to have my fingers that come out kind of like so. All right. And that helps you to figure out, okay, so here's my thumb. And you can have it come over just a little bit, but then we have my fingers. I gotta stop doing this with marker. Right, so when you have that line that comes in, that would be like your palm, right? So like a lot of times we have these other lines that come down in our palm. And with your palm, I like to have that little, almost like a dip in the palm before it connects to the arm. Okay, or with something like this, you could have, let's see, like if I were to be pointing, right, maybe I have my thumb coming down here, I have this main finger coming up here, but then, sorry, it's like a weird, awkward angle. I have my other ones coming like down in here. Okay, so this one's a little bit harder, right? So for the top of your hand, you have just a little bit of a bend, and then your finger, except for we're doing it this way, huh? Okay, and I have my thumb come out, and then I have these fingers that like curl, right? So I have those ones that connect, these ones that curl in, and have kind of like so. Kind of a hard one. So, let's see. Maybe with this one, maybe I want to be holding like a snowflake. Okay, so you're almost like imagining them as mittens. So I have my thumb sticking out over here, and I have my hand. I'm actually going to make that one a little bit shorter. So then I would have my thumb that comes out. I would have my palm that comes up. And I'd have my fingers that come out. And then inside of that, you would have your snowflake. And I accidentally, you can see that I accidentally did not do this in half, right? I made my palm way bigger than it should have been. I'll make it a little shorter. Add in the wrist and do my little snowflake. Okay. So you could do things in different, I guess these two are about the same. So here, let me find another one. Hold on. Okay, so here's a couple more. So this one is just a little bit curled in like a bean, right? So say I wanted to do hands like hers, where she's just like walking, right? You could always have this. You could have your thumb that comes down. Let's see. We'll go ahead and we'll put it like right here. And then you have your finger that kind of bends. Right? For something like that, you wouldn't really see the other fingers because they would be behind it, but you could add them in, right? So maybe I have like my thumb, and then I have my finger that comes down. But maybe, you know, there's a couple other fingers that poke out behind it, right? So you could do, you know, a couple more fingers coming out. Like that, for the hand that's hanging down. Or you could try and do something much more complicated like the I love you. Or wait, maybe it's that one. Yeah, pretty sure it's that one. Right, so like if I had my thumb that came out, my palm, curved line, and then the upper part of my pill shape is a little wider because these two fingers would be spread out. So I have my 1, 2, but these ones bend, right? They bend right down. So these would come down 1, 2, down into there. So what we would end up doing is having our thumb, and then we would come up to our finger, and we would have this outside finger, but then you see how these have these like 2 little bumps. Oops. So we'd have our 2 bumps, and then these 2 fingers that come down, right? You could add in like the nails to give it more of like an I love you hand. Okay, so best thing to do though really is to look at your hand and just practice, okay, because once you have your hand, you could see those overall shapes, right? So like, Same thing with the I love you, those bumps in there. If I was pointing like this, you'd see those bumps. Or a fist, 4 bumps, lines coming down. Look at your hand and see where, like your fingers end, or how high up does your thumb come when you're going like this. How do they bend, right? If you have your thumb all the way out, it kind of curls right here. Or if you have your hand like this, stretched as much as you can, usually it curls up. Kind of, not everybody's does. Everybody's anatomy is a little bit different, okay? So, not everyone can do the, curl upwards. But usually you can, because that's meant to, for when you have to catch yourself, a little bit of wiggle room there so that they're not as likely to break when you fall down. Okay. All right. So practice, practice, practice. And in the next video, we are going to talk about how to draw feet.